Good afternoon. I am addressing the viewers that we may have. Just to let you know, we're going to take 3 to 5 minutes prior to our organizational meeting calling to order, and we will be choosing numbers for the elected officials seating. Thank you for your patience.
You can always empty your doors later.
Oh, careful with that. Marsh, this is good. You and I are closer.
Yeah. I'm not sure that that's a good thing, Marcy. Hey, this is really different on this side. I've never sat on this side.
No? Welcome to the dark side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank God.
Thank you very much for your patience. I will now call the organizational meeting of October 24th, 2022 to order at 1:04 p.m. Looking for adoption of the meeting agenda. Okay, thank you.
Wilson?
Yes, I know, I could see your name. This is a new order of elected officials here, and Councillor Wilson is you're putting a motion on the floor, are you?
To adopt the agenda, if that's what you're calling for, Madam Mayor.
Yes, we're adopting the agenda as presented, and we will talk to each item as we go. Any further questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Starting with page 3 of your agenda, please. This is the date, time, and place of regular council meetings. The request for decision is as presented. However, the second recommended motion should read Monday, October 23, 2023 at 1 p.m. Thank you. And I would ask for a motion then, please. Deputy Mayor Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that the regular council meeting dates for the period November 2022 to October 2023 be held at 1 o'clock in the council chambers at the town office, 4512-46th Street, Olds, Alberta, as per the following schedule, and it's outlined here.
Presented, thank you. Are there any questions from council at this time? Seeing none, we'll call for the first motion. Those in favor? None opposed? That's carried. And the second motion, please. I would ask for a motion. Councillor Blatz.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that the annual organizational meeting be held Monday, October 23rd, 2023 at 1 p.m. in the council chambers at the Town of Olds office, 4512 46th Street, Olds, Alberta.
Does council have questions? Seeing none, then I would call for the vote. Those in favor? None opposed? That's carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Move to page 5, please, of your agenda. Page 5 is the date, time, and place of Policies and Priorities Committee meetings, and I would ask for a motion for the floor. Oh, Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I'd like to move that Council Policies and Priorities Committee meetings for the period November 2022 to October 2023 be held on the following dates at 1 p.m. in the council chambers at the town office at 4512 46th Street, Olds, Alberta, as a schedule.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. I would ask if council has any questions to the schedule. Seeing none, then, I will call for the vote. Those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Thank you. We are now moving down to Deputy Mayor's schedule, page 7 of your agenda. There is an amendment. The amendment would be March and April is Councillor Daly, and July and August is Councillor Cummings. So it would read November, December, Blatz, January, February, Wilson, March, April, Daly, May, June, Walsh, July, August, Cummings, September, October, Ryan. That is what's on the floor, and if we could get a motion, please, we can ask for questions after that. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Your Worship. That Deputy Mayor's schedule for the period of November 2022 to October 2023 be approved as follows with the amendments as mentioned.
Thank you. So the schedule is approved to be approved as amended. Now, does council have any questions at this time? Very good. I will call the question. Those in favor? None opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Item 6, page 8, appointment of council members to authorities, boards, commissions, and committees of 2022-23. Prior to beginning, I would note that the Central Alberta Economic Partnership, CAPE, will be deleted from this from this request for decision and moved to the public at large. Also, the last deletion will be a housekeeping item, and it would be on the last item on page 9, Municipal Planning Commission is repeated twice, so we will delete the last one on page 9. So starting with, those are the two amendments at this point, and we can deal with the public at large when we get to that item. So what I have, I will go down the list, and perhaps we will speak to each one separately. Emergency Advisory Committee, all council. Intermunicipal Cooperation Committee, Councillor Blatz, Councillor Daly, and Mayor Dahl, as per master agreement. Any changes there? Seeing none, we will move to Mayors of South Central Alberta. I believe not all mayors do this, but we did put it on the agenda, and it would be Mayor Dahl. No questions? Following the next one, Mountain View Regional Waste Management Commission. This is by membership, Councillor Cummings. An alternate, I believe the request was, the request would be Councillor Ryan as alternate, but I'd leave the floor open. Questions? Okay, we're good to go. Thank you. The next is Mountain View Regional Water Services Commission with membership from the town. The town of Olds has membership with them. Councillor Blatz and alternate Walsh. Any questions? Please just rise if we get to that point. No questions further? Consensus? Mountain View Seniors Housing Board. We also have membership with them. And we have Councillor Ryan and alternate Daly. Consensus? Yes, Deputy Mayor Ryan.
I just have a quick question with regards to that one, and I'm just wondering about the change of the alternate. It was Councillor Blatz, and you know, she has all the background and done all the orientation and everything for that group. I'm just not sure whether or not, in order for consistency on that board, whether or not we should be switching that around or not. My opinion would be that I would like to have seen Councillor Blatz remain on as alternate.
Are there any other questions or comments? Councillor Blatz?
I guess I was, I understand what Councillor Ryan's saying, and I do agreed with her, because I was under the impression that with some of these alternates, we were going to be, the alternate was going to take over the next time, and that's sort of the process I thought was being followed. I was just curious as to see why there was a change for alternate, that's all. If there's justification for it, then I would understand, but I just was curious is all.
This council table is justification, and it's the comments that we hear around this table is what we go by. So am I hearing a consensus to go back to Blatz for alternate? Councillor Daly.
Just for balance of workload and so forth, if there's something that I could take over that maybe Councillor Blatz was on before, we could do a switch for alternates, I'd be open for that as well, so.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl, and I appreciate that with Councillor Daly. I think that's a very good idea. If there was something that Councillor Blatz has an alternate on at somewhere else on the list, then they could switch over so that we do have a balance of our workload.
So we took that into mind while reviewing this schedule, absolutely. Okay, that's why the alternates are not included. But so consensus for Blatz to stay on Mountain View Seniors Housing. Okay, we're consensus for Councillor Ryan and alternate Blatz. Municipal Area Partnership is also a membership in terms of reference. Mayor Dahl. Yes, question?
Sorry to disturb you, Mayor Dahl, but I just have a question out of curiosity. Do you ever have deputy mayors attend in your absence? If that was the case, I know I did at one time during my last term, so I'm just wondering if if that was already in place or not.
It's in place through the terms of reference that we have with them, that the vice chair chairs the meeting. I'm correct? Am I correct? Yes, that's correct. The vice chair of Municipal Area Partnerships does, and/or the following mayor.
But does that respond to the question? As deputy mayor, if you're not able to go to a MAP meeting, then does the deputy mayor go in your place? Is that part of the terms of reference?
It's not in our terms of reference, and it hasn't been a problem in the past, so there wasn't a need to appoint an alternate at this time, but we can revisit it and for the future. Thank you. Municipal Planning Commission, all council except Councillor Ryan, as it's a conflict for her, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
C.O.
Mayor
Williams?
Dahl. I'm on the subdivision appeal board, and I cannot be on municipal planning commission.
Thank you, C.O. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I should point out that the motion to appoint all of council except Councillor Ryan needs to come with a caveat that it takes effect upon amendment of bylaw 2019-23. There's some verbiage in there around maximum number of members set out, so that's coming forward to PMP for review in 2 weeks' time, in the following council meeting. Theoretically, would be after that.
Thank you. I have Deputy Mayor Ryan and then Councillor Blatz.
Well, thank you, Mayor Dahl. I appreciate getting some clarity from CAO Williams, because I certainly think that we're maybe putting the cart before the horse here and saying all of council when we haven't even changed it. It may not even change when it comes to council to change the bylaw. I'm certainly not in favor of this going forward in this manner. I think we should stay the status quo on Municipal Planning Commission until such time we change the bylaw. It doesn't make any sense to me to make the change at this point when you're not even prepared to change the makeup of the Municipal Planning Commission, and certainly when it comes forward, I will not be supporting them doing it in that way.
Blatz?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl, and actually I support the intent of this today because I realize that we need to do this and the bylaw does need to be changed. I'm just curious, if we've only got 6 people, what we do in the event of a tiebreaker. So has there been thought to that process? Because if 3 or 4 and 3 are against, then it's defeated. And if that's the case, how are we going to mitigate that situation? I realize a tie is a defeat, but if we've only got 6 members, the chances of that happening on a regular occurrence, could be very prevalent. And I just wondered if there was something we'd given thought to that process.
C.O. Williams?
Thanks, Mayor Dahl. And to Councillor Blatt's question and Councillor Walsh's comment, a tie is a defeat, and there's no intent on changing that. But what was brought forward to October P&P, if you recall, was around the eventual dissolution of the MPC. The council didn't want to remain on it in perpetuity, so that's what kind of this step follows, so to speak, that council would become the planning authority in itself for designated statutory plans and whatnot that wouldn't conflict with Councillor Ryan's role in the SDAB. So this is kind of a transitory measure to get there. It's not as neat as we like it to be, but if things go according to plan, because the next MPC meeting is not until after the next council meeting, so the bylaw will be hypothetically in place by then there should be only 1, maybe 2 MPC meetings before we can introduce land use bylaw amendments that were discussed. But it goes back to the PMB discussion, and it does assume the council still supports what was directed at that time. So.
Thank you, C.O. Williams, for your clarity on that.
Blatz is correct. We all did review this together, at which time we had consensus. So how should we be directed at this time? Would you like to still move forward in this manner to do the administrative work?
So the motion, if council wishes to proceed at this time, would be to appoint Mayor Dahl and Councillors Blatz, Cummings, Daly, Walsh, and Wilson to the MPC, effective upon bylaw 2019-23 being amended accordingly.
Would be six council. That's correct. So that is what we have on the table at this time. So with the information sharing around the table, so yes, final comment, Councillor or Deputy Mayor Ryan?
Well, thank you, Mayor Dahl, and I just think that we're doing this sort of out of sequence, and it doesn't make any sense to me to a point when we already have a municipal planning commission in place. We have a municipal planning commission in place, you fix the bylaw, so what I see you should do is you should tighten the bylaw first, then you make your changes. It doesn't make any sense to not continue to have the municipal planning commission, to my standard. My way of thinking is that we're leaping ahead before we've even done the groundwork, and I'm not in favor of doing this in this junction. I just think that it doesn't make any sense to me to do it in this manner. We have a municipal planning commission in place. I do not agree with having all of council. I think that the public at large should be involved in the municipal planning commission. I think it takes the politics out of the decisions that are made at that level. But if you tighten up the land use bylaw, then you would have less of a use for the planning commission. And then you might be able to go forward with the idea of having an all of council, because you wouldn't necessarily have a ton of things coming to the planning commission at that point, because the development authority would be able to make decisions based on a better land use bylaw that they have to work with. So it just sounds to me like we're putting the cart before the horse, like I said.
Are there any further comments? Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I guess my only comment is I do recall when we had this discussion back a couple of weeks ago, I did support the direction we're going then, and I continue to support the direction we're going now. Whether we're being a little bit overly aggressive perhaps in moving this without an amendment to the bylaw, perhaps, but I'm fine, again, going that way. To me, it's all in the interests of expediency and efficiency, and being able to react quickly to requests as they come in. I think this is definitely the way to go. We set some boundaries and thresholds and a framework for administration within which to operate, and then have council with the 6 representatives. I'm fine with that, and I'm fine with moving forward at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Any further comments? Did you have your hand up? No? Okay. And do you have a final comment? No? Okay. Final comment, C.O. Williams.
Yeah, I guess I can just speak to Councillor Ryan's comment, and she is correct in the fact it's neater to have the bylaw amended first. From a practical point of view, that we didn't get the bylaw to council before this meeting, we're not out of step, it's just not as neat as it could be. But appointing council upon amendment of the bylaw, given that we don't have MPC prior to the next council meeting, is really just council directing administration to bring it forward for amendment. So that's, I guess, the final comment for clarity.
Thank you. All right. And I would also say that the conversation and dialogue was larger than we're able to even further discuss. It was very much based also on financial, on cost savings. There's a larger picture to the discussion, but thank you for sharing what you've shared. So if there's nothing further at this time, we still have all council except Councillor Ryan at this point, and that is what's on the floor, and I will call for the vote. Those in favor?
Oh, we haven't got a motion yet.
Oh, who?
We still have another page of appointments to be.
Okay, thank you. My apologies, everyone. That was good discussion, and I thank everybody that was part of that discussion. So we'll move down to our next item, which is Olds Citizen on Patrol Society. We have Councillor Daly. And is there any further comments? Councillor Ryan? Our Deputy Mayor Ryan.
That's fine, Mayor Dahl, you can call Councillor Ryan, it's fine. Is there not an alternate for this? Because there always used to be.
Do not believe we were asking for an alternate. I believe, I would like to ask Councillor Daly if he feels that his workload merits to need an alternate.
No, sorry, Your Worship. No, I have no problem attending these meetings. They're about quarterly, and so they're not a big consumption of time.
Please, we have a discussion in the corner. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Daly.
Yeah, no, I don't feel that they're overwhelming as far as attending, as far as allocation of time. Councillor Wilson was the former alternate on this, but again, depending on allocation and making sure that we have a balanced workload, I'm fine to look after it on my own.
Feel at any time you need one, please bring it back to council. Is this a consensus then with Councillor Daly? Thank you. Oldham District Chamber of Commerce, Councillor Wilson. I don't have an alternate here. Councillor Wilson. Yes, Councillor Daly.
Well, I can speak to this one, is that I was the councillor on the chamber last time, and again, we're looking at probably monthly, if not bi-monthly meetings on the chamber, so I'll leave it to Wilson as far as his comments on time allocation.
Does this merit an alternate? Councillor Wilson.
Mayor Dahl, I don't believe it does, and if it emerges at some point, I'll certainly come back to council, but for now, I don't think an alternate's needed for the Olds and District Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Consensus? Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Olds Municipal Library, Councillor Walsh. And again, Councillor Walsh, I'll leave it up to you to feel if you need an alternate. There's no alternate? There you go. That's why we do this. Thank you for your comment. Consensus, Councillor Walsh. Thank you. Parkland Community Planning Services, Councillor Ryan. Now this is by membership. Have you had alternate in the past?
Mayor Dahl, there has been, but since we are withdrawing from there, we probably would not need to have something going on for an alternate at this point.
At the point it needs to emerge once again, we'll look at again. So Councillor Ryan, consensus? Thank you. Parkland Regional Library, Councillor Wilson. And this is with membership also again. Consensus? Okay, thank you. Red Deer River Municipal Users Group, Councillor Cummings, and alternate. We had an alternate in the past. Yes, I have Councillor Walsh down again. Are we comfortable with consensus for that? You both know much the same as seniors housing? Consensus? Okay. South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission, Councillor Walsh. Now, this is where Councillor Daly, you would take an alternate. I believe it was Councillor Blatz in the past. Councillor Daly. So South Red Deer Regional Wastewater, Councillor Walsh and Councillor Daly. Yes, Deputy Mayor Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I just realized that you've got now the wastewater commission with Councillor Walsh, and he is also an alternate for the water services. And I thought there was one point where we didn't want to have councillors on both of those commissions if he happened to be on one of the other. Could correct me if I'm wrong.
Where did my paper go? Is that correct, Councillor Walsh? I don't believe I recall that. No. Okay, Councillor Blatz?
The Red Deer River Municipal Users Group is not really a commission. It is something we have a membership in. Actually, the membership is paid by the Water Commission. So I think there's no issues here at all. There's no conflict that I can see.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any further questions? We have Councillor Walsh and Councillor Daly. All right, that's good. Now, then the last one is a housekeeping item, and for some reason, my page, I would like to get a motion on the floor, please, then, for approval of the the appointments. Yes, thank you, Councillor Blatz.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that the appointment of elected officials to the various authorities, boards, and commissions and committees for the period of November 2022 to October 2023 be approved as follows. And they are listed. You don't want me to read these out, Legislative Clerk? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blatz. Very good. As amended, as followed. Very good. Oh, Councillor Cummings?
Thank you. I do believe we need the amendment for the MPC as well.
You want that listed, that there would be the caveat under MPC or in the motion, or is that something that we just discussed?
Discussed it at the table. I was told that we had one motion for the entire list, and that would be included in the amendment. Is that
I'm asking
correct?
The Legislative Clerk.
For an interrupt. I think I would agree with Councillor Cummings that the recommended motion you see on your screen would have the end clause as discussed, that the appointment to the MPC would take effect upon amendment of bylaw 2019-23.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that friendly amendment, absolutely.
Very good. Thank you very much, Councillor Blatz, and thank you, Councillor Cummings, for the attention. That is what is on the floor. I will now call the vote. Those in favor? That is, those opposed? That is carried. All right, the next order of business, we will be moving in for our public at-large appointments, and I would ask for a motion to move into closed session with regards to FOIP Section 17, disclosure harmful to personal privacy. Who would like to make that motion, please? Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I would make the motion that council go into a closed session under FOIP Section 17, disclosure harmful to personal property, with all of council, CAO, and the legislative clerk remaining, and the time is 1:33.
Thank you, and for those who are watching us today, please stay online in the live stream meeting platform, and the meeting stream will be replaced by a graphic with music, and when the music stops, the meeting will reconvene. Thank you.
Most car ads go something like this.
You! Buy car from us!
At Honda West, we thought we'd play that backwards.
Us! Buy car from you!
It's subliminal advertising at its best. Honda West wants to buy your car, and we'll turn it into cash fast, even if you don't want to buy one of ours. Stop by for a no-charge, no-obligation appraisal. In less than 30 minutes, we'll give you a written offer, and we'll have a check to you the very next day. Drop by Honda West, Sarcee Trail on Richmond Road, across from West Hills.
Thank you and welcome back. Rise and report. items 7, appointments of public at large. At this time, I would ask for a motion, please, for the Olds Municipal Library appointments. Councillor Walsh.
Yes, thank you. I would like to move that Curtis Cook and Glennis Grover be appointed to the Olds Municipal Library Board for a term of 2 years to expire at the 2024 organizational meeting.
Thank you. Council questions final? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? None opposed, that's carried. And finally, the Central Alberta Economic Partnership, I would motion Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I'd make the motion that CEO Brent Williams and Business Representative James Carpenter be appointed for the period November 2022 to October 2023.
Thank you. I will call for the vote at this time. Those in favor? None opposed, that's carried. I would ask for a motion, please, for adjournment at 1:45 PM. Councillor Daly. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.